Yeah, technology and the way things are moving is is kind of interesting. It's moving to the point of egoistic, perfectionist media that provides for us all that we've ever wanted, which is really dangerous. Because when you get what you want without putting in the effort, um, what is it like? It's a bit like plastic surgery, right? You know, people have plastic surgery to make themselves look
Yeah.
bigger, better, fitter, faster, stronger, younger, maybe whatever. And and it's all artificial. And it's it's the work that you put in that prepares you for the next stage. There's no shortcut, right? If if you spend years communicating with a manager, you are in preparation for that manager's job because that puts you in the right place mentally and psychologically to spin the table around and become the manager. Yeah,
Mm.
because you are aware of their experiences and their problems and their needs, or that's at least the way that it should work. Um, and so putting in the work produces the ability to change. And if we don't put in the work, then we don't have the ability to change, and we're not in control of our own transformation. And that is the danger is stepping back and letting sort of everybody else do everything else. It's a bit like if you're a player on a team and you don't perform to the fullest extent that you need to perform, then the people around about you and the people around about you raise their game, you get left behind. And there's a
Mm.
lot of people going to get left behind in the next 5 to 10 years because they're not integrating the technology into their work, into their writing, into their presentations, into their slideshows, into their documents for clients. Um, like the chat systems already can create documents for clients based on basic information
Mm.
with images and text added to it as well. Of course, it takes time to get to know a lot of the technology and get to use it properly, but that is the future. Remember if we don't remember because we weren't there, but the first people who were the first people to get computers and use them and understand them, they moved forward. They moved forward. They had all the advantages. They communicated faster. Remember, there was a period in time where one set of people were communicating by writing letters by post, and another set of people were communicating by writing emails to each other. There was a period in time, like say 1980 to 85, right? Yeah, that period of time. Now, one of
Mm.
those groups moved forward and the other went nowhere. One of those groups was, one of those groups was Nokia and Kodak. It just disappeared sort of from existence. Yeah.
Mm.
And Nokia was a bit later than that, but those are good examples. Blockbuster Video, where is that now? It was a huge company and just disappeared, um, along with the British motor industry. Um, so there were a lot of companies and a lot of different sectors that it affected, but those who most effectively used the new technology moved forward super fast. And we're not talking about just doing things twice as fast. We're talking about doing things hundreds of times faster, hundreds of times faster,
Mm.
um, which is going to make the difference in the long term. Harder for people in big companies. This is why small companies are going to go and explode and become really big, and the big companies are going to be like, because Joe Smith directors on the golf course, right? Instead of learning about what the new technology is doing, which I've seen that happen in companies where the people at the top get lazy. You get to the top and you think you made it, and but no, it's once you get to the top, the only way to go is down from there, and a lot of people head down very quickly because they're not ready for the next stage in the the evolution of little things that make big differences to the world. You only need to change one little thing for everything to change completely. You know, what if AI in your sphere of business, what if there's somebody somewhere typing into AI how to make this better, how to make that better, how to improve that. Let's say they spend 24 hours doing that. They're probably 15 years ahead of every other company in those 24 hours. And in terms of, and bigger companies might have the networks, they might have the financial resources, they might have the distribution, they might have the factories. But what they don't have is that creative spark that makes the difference, that puts one company in front of another company.
Mm.
And whoever embraces that first is going to have great advantages over everyone else who is struggling, because a lot of people will struggle, and they won't get through everything to the other side because they won't be ready. And it's already out of control. We're 6 months into the AI takeover. Like I mentioned ChatGPT to you in November last year. I remember because I don't know why I remember. Just remember. It was November last year. We're now 8 months into that. And every day in the last 2 weeks, there's been more technological development than there has been in the last 200 years. And the world is not ready for it yet. Yeah, it's not ready for it at all. And things are going to get crazier and more difficult as people mentally struggle with the fact that the technology is better than them. It's like that Star Trek, assimilation is inevitable, resistance is futile, and the future's coming anyway, which it sort of is. And we still need the human element to do things, but technology is now integrated into every single thing that exists. Yeah, and it's gonna change everything. And I recommend people find a way to use it for themselves. Find out where it fits into your life or your children's life, and teach the children to use it, because it will give them an advantage over other people as well. Because and give them the opportunities with it as well. If you don't have the opportunity, you don't learn. So it begins with those kinds of opportunities. But it's absolutely crazy. I try to keep up. I can't keep up with it. I have no idea. Whatever happens next is going to be completely shocking to the world, because no one is ready for it. Whatever it is, no one is ready for it. So we will we'll see what that brings over the next 6 months. But it's got to be integrated into the practices that businesses have in order to make the 4 processes into 3 processes, and reduce that element of everything. And the things are going to speed up. I'll give you one more example of speed. When I was a kid and I wanted to watch a film, I'd learn about the new film coming out, and there was a local cinema. Local cinema was about 10 miles away, and I didn't have a car. So, my parents could take me to the cinema and drop me off, and I'd watch a film or whatever. But if I didn't see the film in the local cinema, and that was rare, I'd get like 2-3 times a year, I'd get to see a film, right, in the cinema. If I didn't see the film in the cinema, then I'd have to wait for it to come to video. And then they'd have to have the video in the shop. So if I saw an advert for the film and the film didn't come to the cinema and the video didn't come to the shop, I could never ever see it. And the whole process maybe took a year for me to find a film that I wanted to see. It took forever. Well, now that whole process of making the film and advertising the film and getting it to people and getting them to see it, now Now it's almost instantaneous. It will be, in the next 5 years, it'll become instantaneous. It'll be able to be done in a couple of days, a week. Be able to do that in a week, maybe faster as things are speeding up. So that's 2 years into a week. And it's going to same is going to happen again. It's going to double in speed again. And we need to be ready. We need to be ready for that process of information. And you should have integrated AI checking your emails with ChatGPT. You should have your emails written, and then you should put it into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT to make it better and give you a choice between your email and its email. And you know what that is? That's learning. That's growth. Because there's probably nobody around about you who's going to teach you to be better at that skill. And that will be you training yourself. And that's what everybody should be doing. Got your email, write your email just before you send it, put it into ChatGPT, ask it to make it better. Make this email more formal. Make this email more persuasive. Add XYZ to this email. Make this email more friendly. Anybody who's not doing that is making a mistake. Not like a big, giant mistake, but they're not improving in the way they could be. Because that's, like I've had to prepare some legal documents in the last 2 or 3 weeks. You know what I did? That's what I did. This is my legal letter. Put it into ChatGPT, make it, improve it. Improve this element, that element. And you know what it did? It made it better. It was perhaps less me and more it, and I'm aware of that and I understand that. And there's times when it's better to be me than to be it, especially in personal one-to-one communication. But there are other times when, there's days when it's better to walk than it is to take the car, right? But most people take the car, right? Because it's, why? It's one reason. One reason why people take the car. It's faster. It's the one reason why people take the car. It's faster. It's the only reason. It's faster. Yeah? And so that's what the chat systems are doing now. That's what the AI is doing. It is exponentially increasing the speed at which everything happens. And it's exponentially increasing the speed of learning. It's not only it that increases, it's your learning of how it works and how it can teach us that increases as well. Where the web will answer your question, ChatGPT will explain the answer to you. That's the difference between those two elements. Yeah? The web will give you an answer, but the chat system will explain the answer. And you can ask it then to refine its answer or just select the main points from its answer as well. You can get an extension for your browser on the internet, which will summarize web pages for you. It will automatically, so every time you visit a web page, it will pop up and it will automatically summarize that web page for you with the main points. Or a news article. Now, it might be better to read the whole news article yourself, but then again, you might be limited by time as well. And so if you can turn 5 days, if you can do 5 days work in 4 days, then you've created 1 day of freedom for yourself. Now, the way that work is that somebody will come and fill that up with other activities. But if you're super smart about it, I don't mean devious, okay, because that's of the devil and negative. But if you're super smart about it, you can schedule and arrange, and you can extend the schedule, right, and create a bit more free time for yourself. And although companies monitor their employees to an extreme extent, results are results. And as long as a person is providing the results and giving the answers, I really don't think there's much reason to question what they're doing, as long as they're, as long as if they're performing to the needs of the market and the needs of their job description, there's very little need to question somebody. And I think it just shows a person being more smart in their approach to their work. Like a few years ago, there were people that being employed by companies to do certain tasks, and what they would do is they'd go onto Fiverr and all of the other sites like Fiverr, and they would find other people to do the tasks. They would do it cheaper. So they'd be like subcontracting, although they were working in one company, they would actually really be subcontracting to other people in order to create free time for themselves. Which is important in life when we're busy and we have families and we have partners and we have kids and we have friends and we have all the things that we need to do in life. We want to make sure that that we're providing or having time for all of those things and all of those elements. And we're very close to. There's no reason for me to exist. Digital personal assistants and language tutors and all those things already exist. There's no reason for me to exist. And now I can just as easily go to a factory and do the same kind of thing. The only reason for people to exist anymore is the fact that they're individuals and they have some kind of personality, and the human connection is a great thing. Yeah. And I think it is. But most people are entirely replaceable, and we all need to get to a point where we don't cry over it, because it's there's always, as long as you do the right thing, there's always tomorrow. So there's nothing to stop tomorrow being a better day than today. Never. There's never anything to stop that. It's individual choice in that respect, as long as you're not in prison, I suppose. But and there's always an exception to the rule. But the next 6 months we'll see a lot of changes in this. Yeah, I'll give you a final crazy thought, right? Every time there's a large development in technology, do you know what instantly follows it? Every time there's a large development in technology, there's always a conflict that follows it, as people fight for dominance using that new technology. Yeah. And if you want the classic example of that, think about the development of guns. Yeah. What happened after guns were developed? Well, there was just conflict everywhere, especially after factories. Especially after factories were built in and around places like Europe for armaments, which were built by Alfred Nobel of the Nobel Prize, of the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, the man who the Nobel Peace Prize is named after built all the gun factories that produced all the guns for the wars. It's a strange piece of irony. But all there was after that was conflict everywhere, because this new technology was so powerful and everybody wanted human ego. Everybody wanted to be powerful, and so they all wanted to control the technology in one way or another. And so, what we're heading towards with the technology is some kind of inevitable conflict. It doesn't have to be a physical conflict. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's definitely a change of society. It can be, it can be political conflict, right? It doesn't have to be, war between countries and things like that. Hopefully speaking allows us to avoid common problems that would otherwise exist. Hopefully through words we can find solutions. So yay to the technology and to wherever it goes. Just as on a little note, almost everybody should have an AI personal assistant. These already exist. Almost everybody should have one, because the ability to reflect our own ideas back over somebody very close to us or something very close to us gives us an opportunity to grow. Yeah, it's no different from looking in the mirror and looking at a picture, looking at yourself in the mirror and like, don't want to shave or whatever, right? We should all be using AI personal assistants to reflect our own ideas back and to suggest new ideas. Make this better. How do I make this better? Because we all get stuck. We all get stuck in certain things. We all have brain blocks where we're like, I don't know how to make this better, or I don't know what to do, or I'm not sure, or whatever. And the technology already exists to make things better. How do I make this better? Or show me another way, right? We're all going down one road in our lives, and there's many different roads, and we can use the technology to show us a different way to solve the same problem. I know we're limited by time.